You chase a lead, pitch your value, hoping for a seat at the table. You bring offerings to a king, only to be shut out. Over the next 5 minutes, we will build a custom 3-step playbook. This system forces the buyer to pitch you on why they are worthy of your time. Open a blank document. Focus on the specific details of your most critical pending deal. Leverage relies on the illusion of autonomy. In high-stakes transactions, capital flows away from emotional reactivity toward a state that is predictable and detached. Leverage exists when you engineer an environment where the buyer must prove their own worth to you. Phase 1 of your playbook is the manufactured chasm. A prospect sitting on dry land has no use for a life raft. You have to introduce them to a hidden danger beneath their feet. In your document, write down one specific, probing question that exposes a critical vulnerability in your prospect's current operation. You might ask how long they have been bleeding capital without their board noticing. Resist the urge to offer a solution immediately. Solving the problem the moment it appears is a mistake. Remain silent. Let the panic crystallize as the prospect feels the full weight of that vulnerability. This unaddressed void strips away their comfort, replacing it with an urgent need for an exit. Move to the second phase, identity infection. Write down a high-status label you will assign to the buyer as their urgency peaks. Explicitly label them a deeply clinical decision-maker before you begin reviewing the math of the deal. Once the buyer accepts this elite identity, rejecting your premium terms becomes difficult. Declining your terms would force them to contradict the flattering persona you just provided. This tactic bypasses analytical resistance. The act of paying a premium validates their newly adopted status. The final phase of the plan is the velvet rope protocol. Script out your walk-away statement, the phrasing you use when pulling the offer off the table. Maintain a specific physical posture. Stand shoulder to shoulder with the buyer, looking up at the product together. State that you are looking at their infrastructure, and you are not convinced they are ready for this level of scale. This causes a psychological misfire. The ego struggles when it is deemed insufficient by a vendor. The buyer will stop scrutinizing the contract and start pitching you on their own worthiness. Withdrawing the offer in this manner positions you as the gatekeeper of their success. Review your customized 3-step inverted coercion battle plan from top to bottom. The prospect will leave the negotiation convinced the entire transaction was their own idea. This playbook makes you the architect of your own financial sovereignty. Because these tactics lean on dark psychology, they often trigger algorithmic filters designed to protect the vulnerable. The rawest applications must remain hidden. Subscribe and use the private link below to access the unrestricted tactics of high-stakes leverage.